Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm Tony with RcHelpDotCom. On a pretty old video of ours, I had a member post up and ask me, what is the difference between heading hold mode and rate mode, and why would you use each one? That's when it occurred to me that I've never answered that question on camera. I don't have that answer on the website. So in this video, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to answer what rate mode is used for and what heading hold mode is used for, in my opinion. Now, everybody has a different opinion, so my opinion may not jive with somebody else, but this is exactly what I use them for and how I fly with my helicopters and what rates I use. Now first, we're going to talk about rate mode, because rate mode, when the gyros first come out, rate mode is all you had. You didn't have heading hold mode. All you had was rate. And all rate mode is going to do is, say you're flying along just like this and a gust of wind, bam, hit your tail. All rate mode's going to do is stop that movement, and it's not going to go that far. This is very exaggerated. So if you're flying straight and the wind hits it, it's just going to stop it right there, and it's going to be up to you to bring that tail back, or side in or nose in, or whichever way you're flying. That's all rate mode does. It just stops the tail from moving. A lot of the scale pilots that have, you know, thousands of dollars in their scale fuselage and cockpits and all that stuff, turbines, they only fly in rate mode because it looks more real. You know, it's got that little bit of a wag from the wind and the rotor wash, and it looks more scale. It looks more like a full-size helicopter. Now, heading hold mode, if you guys have ever watched any movies that has had airplanes in it, has had ships or boats or whatever, they're going to say that they're on a specific heading. Now, heading hold or heading lock is doing just that. If you have it nose in, that gyro says, okay, this is where that tail's supposed to be. This is the direction I'm supposed to be facing. And if a gust of wind comes up and hits it and knocks it 45 degrees off, that gyro is going to sense, okay, we just moved 45 degrees. I need to come back. And it's going to put that helicopter back into the heading that it was in. Now, if you hit the rudder stick, say we're going to go nose left, once you push that rudder stick, it's going to start moving. Whenever it's moving, it's sitting here calculating where it's going. You let go and then it'll stop. That's a new heading. It's going to try to hold that heading. So if wind comes and hits it again, it's going to try to put it right back to the heading that it was at after you gave it the stick input. Another thing that I use rate mode for, and just for an example, on a DX6i, I set rate mode at about 35 and I set heading hold mode at about 65. Those are pretty good numbers to start with. You're going to have to go out, you're going to have to fly, every helicopter is different, and you're going to have to put in your own numbers. Gyros are so good nowadays that you can line those blades with zero pitch whenever you're sitting there without touching the stick, and the gyro is going to sense that there's going to be some movement, or there is some movement, and it's going to stop it and it's going to hold it there. Back in the day of rate only, you had to bring it up into a hover, flat throttle curve, and all that jazz, and you had to tune it in. You had to lengthen and shorten that rod in order to get your tail to hold just right. And on that note, a lot of the scale pilots, they only fly at one throttle position. It's either 80% or 85% or 83%. They have a flat throttle curve and it never moves, so there is no motor power that's trying to move that tail. The only thing affecting the tail is wind and torque. That's the only two things that are affecting the tail, and of course stick input. But there's nothing else. There's no heading hold. There's no way for it to bring it back. But what I use rate mode for is whenever I take my helicopter, I've got my blades out, I've got my canopy off, I've got it sitting down on my pad, I plug the battery in, I put the canopy on, and by the time I get back to where I'm standing away from the helicopter, somehow that tail has moved one way or another. And in heading hold mode, when that tail moves, it's going to put pitch on them blades, and it's not going to go back to center. On rate mode, basically you're going to move, it's going to give pitch, and then whenever you stop, it's going to go back to center. That's just the way rate mode works. On heading hold, which is the only thing I fly in, it's going to go over and there's going to be some pitch on the blades. I don't want to take off with pitch on the blades because it's going to start moving the helicopter as I'm spooling up. So I'll take my switch and I'll flip it down into rate mode, back up into heading hold mode, and all that's going to do is center those tail blades. That's it. So Carlos, I hope that answers your question. I hope that answers other people's question on what's the difference between rate mode and heading hold. Rate mode just stops the movement. Then heading hold is going to take the helicopter, sense it, and then bring it back to where it was. So guys, if this video helped you out, please give this video a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, guys, just post them in the comments below. That's what Carlos did. I got to give a huge thanks to Carlos for posting that, and I can't believe it's taken me this long to do it. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.